So we're kind of looking at scraps of history of, human endeavors.
Underwater video gives you a front row seat to more than a century ago. On the surface, Joe Link is on a first-time tour of the nation's newest National Marine Sanctuary.
I think it's hard not to think about the human beings that, sailed those ships. Each one of them had a story.
Mallows Bay in the Potomac River in Charles County is home to historic shipwrecks built for World War I and then abandoned.
There are a limited number of national marine sanctuaries in the country, and that provides really special protection and recognizes the national significance of this place.
Susan Shingledecker is the vice president of Chesapeake Conservancy. That's one of the groups that helped establish the national designation. After a review by Congress and Governor Hogan, it's official now, and the public is invited to a celebration at Mallows Bay Park on November 9th.
You notice there's no threads on them.
We took a kayak out to meet Dr. Susan Langley, Maryland's underwater archaeologist, who was among the wooden steamships that are sticking out of the water.
Having to build so many so quickly and training people up very fast, it was what rocketed America to the forefront of shipbuilding for the 20th century. And it also caused the formalization of the American merchant marine. We always had merchant mariners. But when you suddenly need enough men for 1,000 ships to be trained to the same standards, you're going to have to come up with a program, and that's what actually formalized the American merchant marine.
The ships never saw wartime action. They were built at more than 40 shipyards in 17 states and now known as the Ghost Fleet at Mallows Bay. Dr. Langley says they're not only fascinating to see, they're good for the environment.
They're actually a breakwater along the front line. It's hard on the front ships, but it's protecting the rear ones. It's actually helping stave off erosion, so land is actually accreting in some areas. It's a nursery for both recreational and commercial fishing species.
That designation as a national marine sanctuary has brought more attention to Mallows Bay, meaning more visitors are coming, often by kayak.
We've seen companies like Atlantic Kayak and Indian Head and REI, we've seen their business pick up. We've actually seen much more visitation at the launch ramp, which Charles County tracks, which is great because it says that people are getting out and they're connecting with this resource that's right here so close to the nation's capital.
And right next to Marine Corps Base Quantico, there are 16 small buoys that mark points of interest, like the Accomack, a steel ship that was destroyed by fire and then ditched here under the cover of darkness.
I find it fascinating.
Remains that are easy enough to access with a public launch ramp, the Ghost Fleet provides shelter for fish and osprey.
We'll be the 14th National Marine Sanctuary. We'll be the first new one in nearly 20 years.
Dr. Langley calls the designation global street cred, what she hopes will attract more people to learn about Maryland's marine history. For Chesapeake Bay Magazine's Bay Bulletin, I'm Cheryl Costello.